Gears 5 is pretty good. I was a little surprised, to be honest, because I only just got through playing Gears of War 4 a couple of weeks ago, and that edition did not fill me with hope for the future of the franchise. It was fine, it was Gears of War, it just did not do anything innovating or refreshing for the series. To hear more on that, you can see my Game Pass review of Gears of War 4, it is linked in the description below. Gears 5, however, does try new things, and most of them, for the most part, work really well, and make the game that bit more exciting and fresh. For instance, the game is broken up into 4 acts. This is nothing new, most Gears have done this before, however in this case Gears 5's acts are a little less linear than previous games. Well, Act 2 and 3 are anyway. Acts 1 and 4 copy the same type of formula as previous Gears games and have you ushered down a path to your ultimate goal. It's still story-led and fun for the most part, but Act 2 and 3 have something a little different this time around. In these acts you are given a little more freedom. Act 2 sees you skating around a snow-covered area on a skiff as you go from objective to objective. Scattered throughout the area are side missions that you can choose to complete or not. Act 3 sees you in a similar scenario, this time though you are in a type of sand dune area, with winds and lightning attacking you in certain areas, which spices it up a bit more and makes it that bit more exciting and fun. Again, there are side missions in this area too. It is recommended that you complete these if you are the type of player that likes to gather all of the collectibles, but not only this, completing these missions will also unlock the ultimate upgrade for some of your companion Jack's abilities. Jack is a flying AI companion that joins the team you may be familiar with from the last game. Kate, JD, Marcus and Del all return in this game along with some cameos from the rest of the well-known Gears crew such as Baird and Cole. Jack can be controlled by another player when playing co-op, and in single player you can give him commands such as collecting loot and opening doors. The more you advance Jack, the better he gets. He is granted upgrades throughout the campaign which give him new abilities such as dropping traps, reviving comrades and even taking control of some enemy types. Each of these abilities can be upgraded, making the effects last longer or allowing Jack to be stealthier and more lethal. Each set of upgrades has an ultimate upgrade which are gained from completing the side missions, so it's definitely worth seeing them through. The game will prompt you before moving on, as once you leave Act 2 or 3 you cannot return to those areas and therefore will not be able to do these side missions later on, so if you see the prompt, perhaps decline it at first and just check you have done all that you can in that area. You can open up a map in these areas with the view button, or back button as I still prefer to label it. This will give you a list of missions at the top right, so if you have any side missions left you may want to track them down before leaving. I feel the Coalition really improved their storytelling in this outing. It's still no Uncharted or the likes, but it's getting there and was much more interesting than some of the earlier editions in my opinion. The story looks deeper into the goings on with Kate and her mother and their connection to the Locust, which was alluded to in the previous game. It does not wrap everything up in a neat little package by the end, instead it leaves everything wide open for future editions, which could be pretty smart considering they seem to be getting the hang of the storytelling. The story tackles all of the modern traits such as a dark past, family issues and the new guy that comes along to annoy everyone and get them all riled up. It's done really well though, and it keeps the game flowing at a really good pace. The pace of the game is not just helped along with the story, it is also down to the way the missions or levels are set out. So many times in previous Gears games you would go through a small corridor that opens up into a big area with small walls to hide behind. This clearly indicates a battle which promptly starts as you walk into the centre of the room or so. In this outing though, they have dialed this down a little. Quite a few areas you will walk through may just be that way because of a previous fight that happened in the past. You may actually get through without too much resistance while being kept entertained by the conversations between the team members. You may have to fight your way back out of these areas in these locales on the way back, but that's by the by. At least in this game you have made your way into a building or missile silo and caused a ruckus, which makes sense that you now have to deal with the mess you made. Earlier editions would have you fighting wave after wave of drones on your way in and then the same again on the way out, with a few tougher or faster ones thrown into the mix. I prefer the slower build up in this game. It puts me on edge. It makes me feel tense when things get a little too calm, and that's what a game like Gears should be doing in my mind. By the final chapter you are back in the usual Gears gear, if you will, fighting hordes of locusts, specifically the tougher types in a larger number than ever before, and then coming up against a huge boss to finish off the tale. This is what we have come to expect, and I am okay with it after the fun they have given me prior to this. It did get a little frustrating at times in the end chapter, as it is possible to die by getting stuck in a corner of a room while the enemies jump in your way and just attack you until you're dead. I say dead because Gears has always had a revive function and still does, but if you get taken out while trying to crawl to a teammate for a revive, then you are dead and have to reload the last checkpoint. As most of these end battles force you into feeding on a large number of smaller grunts before bringing out the main course, it can be annoying when you get taken out this way and have to start over. I feel it is meant this way though, as the fourth act is the shortest by far and having to redo a few areas does pad it out a little. I say Act 4 was the shortest act, and it was. This came as a little bit of a surprise but also a little bit of a relief too, as after Acts 2 and 3 this was shaping up to be the longest Gears of War campaign ever, as those acts would last me 3 to 4 hours each, and I was not even stopping to gather all of the collectibles. As the fourth act is only about an hour long though, it did bring the game back in line with earlier titles. The gameplay and gunplay in the game are still of the highest quality you would come to expect from the Gears franchise. The characters and guns feel heavy and react as you would expect. No weapon is ever perfect in Gears, they all have pros and cons, and finding out which ones work best for you is part of the fun. They do seem to have tweaked some of the guns, so a gun such as the hammer shot that may have felt a little weak in the previous games may now feel that bit stronger and more useful. It did to me anyway. They also have some new guns such as the claw. This is apparently an improved swarm gun that has really bad accuracy at first but gets better the more you fire it. It does start to jam up though after a while too, so it's one you have to manage well. Again, that makes the game a bit more fun. New guns and toys to master is great for a game like this. They did change the active reload a little in this outing and I'm not sure why. Now you are able to trigger an active reload with a full clip, which makes no sense. Getting the perfect reload during combat made all of the sense before and made you feel good that you pulled it off while under pressure, and for doing that you were rewarded with a faster fire rate and so on. Now you can trigger this at any time with a full clip, making the whole notion of it that little less rewarding and satisfying. On top of this now there is a cooldown on the active reload buff, so because a weapon like the Lancer can empty its clip in no time, especially following an active reload which granted you increased fire rate, you may end up finding yourself out of ammo having to reload under pressure and not being rewarded for nailing the reload because it's on cooldown. In whose mind did that make sense? I'm now being rewarded before the fight starts and not when I need it the most. Another change that I felt was not really needed was the fact that we now have a knife melee attack on the B button and our chainsaw attack has been moved to holding down the reload or right bumper button. It does allow for silent stealth takedowns that do not require you to have a noisy chainsaw ringing through the air, so there is that. Stealth was not really used that much in this outing, probably enough for my liking to be fair, but now that they have opened up a gateway to a stealthy playstyle, it will be interesting to see where they go with it. Due to these changes, there is a forced tutorial when you launch the game. As such, you cannot just rush into multiplayer or the campaign without first playing through this and getting to grips with the new controls and mechanics. Whether or not a forced tutorial is a good thing is up to you to decide, but it does not take too long to complete and is quickly forgotten about once you get into the game proper. The game currently scores 85 on Metacritic with a user score of 8.7. It has 68 achievements for your 1000G and the estimated time to beat the game is around 13 hours. Now for me, this is a Game Pass or Play review, and in these reviews I like to ask two main questions, which are, is this game worth using your Game Pass subscription to play, or is this game worth purchasing a Game Pass subscription to play? The answer to both of these questions in my mind is yes, absolutely. As far as I'm concerned, this is exactly what Game Pass is for. You would purchase a Netflix sub to watch a few movies or TV shows, and I would purchase a Game Pass sub to play a few Xbox games. This game only being 12 to 13 hours long is perfect for that. I can sub for a month, have this game done in a week or less, and move on to the next one, having had a fantastic time playing it. If however you play the Gears games for the multiplayer aspect, then the decision will come down to the time invested to the cost. If you feel you will play the multiplayer campaign for months or even a year or more, it may be worth buying it outright. But for now, if you feel you will be done with it in 6 months or less, then it's still a great decision. With all of that in mind, I am proud to give Gears 5 my very first Game Pass or Play 10 out of 10. It is the perfect example of value for money from the Game Pass subscription. If you are subscribed to Game Pass, you owe yourself the pleasure of playing through this campaign at the very least. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time.
If you like this video, please consider watching another. 2 suggestions will be on screen now. Also, if you have not subscribed already, please do so by clicking the icon in the middle of this screen. Every view and subscription will go a long way to helping the channel grow, and in turn will result in more content for you. Thank you, and until the next time, goodbye.